New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
And as he's cheered by the thousands and even millions of fans, hello there. Good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world. It is time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and yes, it is guaranteed, always exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and I am broadcasting this evening on tape or on recording. You can tell how old I am when I say tape. But anyhow, we're broadcasting this evening from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in the secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only one person knows where the top secret concrete bunker is located, and that is my go-to producer, Diego Reyes. Everyone else, including and especially the Reverend Robert Brzezinski, our Chief Inspirational Officer here at the New Thought Media Network, they have no clue where the top secret bunker is located. Now, they try to run up and down the street these radio finding trucks, radio locating trucks trying to find me. But again, they can't. Well, hi there. How are you this evening? We have a wonderful show here. So go put another fire on the log here. Go get yourself a nice beverage. We have a great show for you tonight. Please feel free to interact with us through Facebook. Now, again, we're on recording here. But again, leave your comments, and then we will get to them sometime this week. Again, all my shy people out there, I know you're out there. You don't like commenting. But again, go to our email address. That's pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. And I read those during the week. So, well, the purpose of our fireside chat here is to get real, is to talk about contemporary issues from a spiritual New Thought perspective. And as I keep telling everyone week after week, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world, and again, our response to it. So I know sometimes that people, again, in spirituality, they all want to think about, again, positive stuff. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that, again, that with the world around us and the conditions around us, that we need to pay attention to them also. And also to be not only praying, but also being a part of the solution to all that's going on around us. Well, we have a wonderful guest today waiting in the wings. I think that you will find very interesting. All the way from the great state of Idaho, we welcome Science of Mind practitioner David LeMaster. David is one of the bright lights I get to see weekly at a continuing education class that we both take on Wednesday evenings. He's had a varied career of being not only an Alaskan bush pilot, he crashed not just one, but two planes and lived to tell about it. They always say in the pilot world that again, that if you walk away alive, it was a good landing. So again, he's also a master's degree science teacher, and we will be asking him about his interesting past and also his book, which he wrote, and also about his involvement in the online practitioner program from Centers for Spiritual Living. So David LeMaster will be our special guest here coming up. We would like to mention that yesterday was National Pizza Day. The food of the New Thought Media Network. We survive on pizza here. Now, when I think of great pizza cities, my mind goes to New York. It goes to Chicago. And I like Detroit-style pizza too. Well, the pizza researchers have come up with a very interesting city that you would not go ahead and associate with pizza. So the honor of the best pizza city in the United States goes not to those traditional standard bearers of pizza, but instead to the innovative West Coast upstart of Portland, Oregon. And again, these two gentlemen went ahead and wrote a 3-volume, almost 1,700-page book or books that include a history of pizza, more than 1,000 recipes, pizza making techniques, and also tips on where to get the best pie. Now, the reason that they picked Portland was because of they have a wonderful history of having, again, gourmet pizza. There's 2 upstarts there. It's called a pizza and also Ken's Artesian Pizza. And again, that the reason being that the researchers picked Portland was because, again, of the innovation of pizza there in Portland. It's really, really good. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Valentine's Day being this Tuesday, February 14th. We had a great discussion on Rockin' the Love with Robin and Gil this week here on the New Thought Media Network about the pressure that's put on especially men to get their significant other a gift of flowers, candy, or a card. Now, it got me thinking that if this is truly the month of love, then how else can we show love to the world? Is there someone at your center or in your online group who lives alone and doesn't have a significant someone? Is there some way that you can brighten their day? So think about someone in your community, someone who you know, and surprise them on Valentine's Day next Tuesday. Send them a card or a cookie or even some flowers. It really will make their day. And guys, please, for goodness sakes, make sure to go get something for your significant other. Take it from experience. Now, Diego, my producer here on the New Thought Media Network, he is making his lovely bride, Mercedes, a handcrafted lasagna with a super secret recipe. Am I breaking news here? Or she already knows, huh? Oh, she doesn't know. Okay. But Diego is making this top secret recipe lasagna. That is wonderful. All right. So let's check the news here from CNN. Millions of Americans will be watching the Super Bowl this Sunday in a big game between the Kansas City Chiefs and also the Philadelphia Eagles. Accompanied by loved ones and also alluring snacks, and also watching the interesting commercials, Excitement is also building for another big game happening that day, and that is the Puppy Bowl. And this year's televised event will help 122 puppies get adopted into their forever homes while promoting shelters and foster pet awareness. Now, I'm not a big football fan, okay? As you probably have guessed with the stories I've had, I follow professional wrestling more than I do the NFL. In other news here, the death toll in Turkey and Syria following the magnitude 7.8 earthquake has surpassed 21,000 people, marking a grim milestone as one of the top 10 deadliest quakes in the world over the past 20 years. A number of factors have contributed to making this earthquake so lethal, and one of them was the time of day it occurred. So our prayers for comfort and peace go to the nations of Turkey and also Syria. And if you could, please give a monetary gift to assist the rescue and also rebuilding efforts in those countries. Tragedies like these may not affect you personally. However, spiritually, they are your brothers and sisters who are hurting at this time. How can I not help? So again, there are wonderful charities, and again, you may Google that online, that are getting aid to those areas. Also in the news, air raid sirens are sounding across Ukraine today as officials warned of a potentially widespread Russian missile attack. Explosions have been reported in the Ukraine-held city and also in several different regions, while the threat of more strikes are being reported elsewhere in the country. Ukraine's main energy supply company introduced emergency power outages in the capital of Kyiv and also neighboring regions in anticipation of the strikes, which have repeatedly targeted at Ukrainians' energy infrastructure. So our prayers for peace and understanding continue in the Ukraine. And I know that this has been an ongoing war over there, going on 1 year. But again, we must keep the high watch as spiritually minded people. And our CSL communities in Ukraine, from what I understand, they are doing well, and they are in constant communication with a team of practitioners and ministers from our country. Also in the news, former Vice President Mike Pence has been subpoenaed by a special counsel investigating Donald Trump and his role in the January 6, 2021 uprising. A source told CNN, specifically the special counsel's office, wants Pence to testify about his interaction with then President Trump leading up to the 2020 election and the day of the insurrection. The subpoena marks a big milestone in the Justice Department's 2-year criminal investigation. Also, Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook, on Thursday restored Donald Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts, allowing him once again to post on the social media platform. Trump's reinstatement comes a week after the Facebook's landmark announcement that it would restore his access following a 2-year ban in the wake of the attacks on the U.S. Capitol. Twitter restored Trump's account in November, but he hasn't posted on the platform since. So on our show here, I usually don't mention politics. And the reason being is because, again, of the controversy it sometimes stirs up, even among those who attend our centers. And again, it troubles me that it seems that we have two sets of facts and we seem divided as a nation. So I know that for me, I continue to pray for our nation, as did Ernest Holmes and other spiritual leaders. And as I was getting ready for today's program, I was sent an email from Gary Hawk, who is one of the teachers at Clarity International. And I want you to really hear this. The email was entitled "The Insanity of Political Discord versus My Daily Energy." And I'll read this in full. "My energy has been very negative in recent weeks." This is Gary Hawk. "And I have an excuse." He put that in quotes. "I pay way too much attention to politics, and the recent insanity impacts my thoughts and drains my daily energy. My challenge is to consciously let go of the energy drain while maintaining my desire to stay informed. It is becoming extremely obvious that I need to gain more control over a lifelong habit of following the news, which now comes to me through several different avenues: Facebook, blogs, television, and also the daily news. It's not easy to change because I've always believed that being informed makes me a better citizen and also a better voter. However, disingenuous, lying politicians," and that's from Gary Hawk, "want to force their ideology and also dogma on the country is not a real issue for me." And this is what I want to share with you this evening. I can't control the insanity that is happening in the government today. And he put this in quotes and also bold font. He said, "The only thing I have complete control over is holding my own thoughts and energy in the present moment so I can live my daily life effectively." And he also wrote this: "When you have a worry condition, as I do, every little thing can set off a negative chain reaction. One stupid, lying political hack appearing in the news feed can lead to my worrying about whether the car needs new shocks, whether or not his wife Kathy is going to be driving okay to the airport, and will the bank call and say that all of our money is gone." Again, in italicized print, he says, "I know it's silly, but negative thoughts feed other negative thoughts. When you have a passionate belief in something, whether it be religion or politics or a sports team or business vision, it can be difficult to stay energized and also positive when your team, your vision, and your belief are challenged by idiots." Again, Gary Hawk's opinion. "And also lower life forms thousands of miles away. Here's the overarching truth." Gary Hawk wrote this: "I don't have any control over these remote activities. My primary job is to hold, monitor, and control my own thoughts and energy in this moment. It is the only thing I have complete control over, and it is the most important thing I can and should do to live my life fully. My new plan is to self-correct my energy, is to avoid reading the same news report several times a day on each of my delivery devices, limiting my news intake to once or twice a day, setting an additional intention every day to be calm and deliberate and objective while reading, and then refocus my attention on what lights me up at this moment." And he finally concludes by saying, "I may also switch my news gathering to follow the Kardashians rather than politics. Getting somewhat of the anger out of this blog and through this blog has helped. Stay engaged, but not enraged. Gary." That's something to ponder this evening here. One more story, Diego. Can I have one more story? Diego's in the background there. The CDC has added COVID-19 shots to the list of recommended routine vaccines for kids and adults. And this means that COVID-19 vaccines are now presented as any other continued recommended vaccine and is no longer presented in a special call-out box as in previous years, an author of the report told CNN, saying that the move will help normalize the vaccines. However, including COVID-19 on the routine schedules of vaccines does not mean that vaccination will be required by schools or workplaces. Again, as we have stressed here for the past 3 years, we're going on 3 years here broadcasting on Fridays. Unless told by your health professional, I really support all of us to get vaccinated, not only for our personal health, but also the health of all. The science has been overall correct in the spread and the control of COVID-19. And you can still wear a mask if you would like. And I still do when I go into my doctor's office or on planes or in crowded places. Finally, in the news here, we remember the life of Burt Bacharach, who was the acclaimed composer and songwriter behind dozens of mellow pop hits from the 1950s to the 1980s, including Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and also I Say a Little Prayer for You. Remember that song? He was 94 at his passing here this week, and over his long career, Bacharach earned 6 Grammys, 3 Oscars, and with Hal David, the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song that was awarded by the Library of Congress. All right, Diego, I went a little over. I'm 23 minutes. I'm sorry. Is that okay? Okay, yeah. He says, keep on going. All right. So, hi. This is a Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael, and we are going to go to announcements, and then we're going to have a break, play a few commercials, as Reverend Jim Webb has taught me to say. We're going to sell some soap, and then we'll be right back with our special guest, David LeMaster, and we'll be talking about his wonderful life and ministry. David is one of the licensed practitioners in Centers for Spiritual Living, and also just a wonderful, wonderful light out there in Idaho, again, beaming to the world. So yours truly is currently parking himself at Summit CSL. For more information, go to Summit CSL, and there you'll find more information about our wonderful Sunday gatherings online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso. Please join us. We have one of the best services I've ever seen in New Thought. And this Sunday, our speaker will be our spiritual director, which is practitioner Diana Mangus. Go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. Our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page. Our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat, and yours truly when he is praying on the New Thought Media Network. Again, we have new programs coming every single week here on the network. And we are lovingly asking for your support. Your financial support goes a long way in helping us get the message out there. So if you could go to our website, which is ntmedia.org, go to the donate page, give a very generous one-time gift, or you may do as I do, and that has become a monthly sustaining donor. That really helps us. That money that we get monthly really helps us set budgets, and also to provide the wonderful programs that you have here on the New Thought Media Network. So go to ntmedia.org/donate for more info on that. All right. Time for us to pay some bills, and then we'll be right back. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
It is my privilege to introduce to you someone who I see weekly on Wednesday evenings, and that is practitioner David LeMaster. David has a varied career and is just one of those bright lights within our movement. And I wanted to have him on to share about his life and also about the online practitioner program in Centers for Spiritual Living. So all the way from an extremely remote location somewhere in Idaho, it is David LeMaster. David, welcome to the New Thought Media Network and also Friday evening's Fireside Chat.
Thank you, Reverend Michael. This is great. And I'm in a bunker here in a cow pasture in Idaho.
Now, do you live next to an airstrip?
I do.
Oh, okay.
It's actually a community built around those small airstrip. So it's an aviation community, and have our hangars and I have my old Alaska beater bush plane. She never got to be inside before, so she's pretty excited about that.
Wow. So what kind of plane do you have?
It's a Cessna, brand new 1962 Cessna 175.
Which has to go through annual review.
Yeah, I got that coming up.
That's coming up. Yeah, you can just what you do is you give the mechanic your credit card. and say, go ahead and just fix up the plane or find whatever. So David, tell us how a nice guy like you got involved in New Thought. Now, from what I understand, you were a pretty wild child for many years.
How did that get out?
Well, yeah, I read your bio, David. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Yes, I grew up on a farm in Kentucky and really just kind of worked my butt off doing a lot of different things. And so when I finally got up the nerve to go to college and then eventually on to graduate school and leave the area, I got into playing rugby and just the old sowing the wild oats type of thing, and then ran off to join the circus in Alaska. While I worked for Fish and Game in Alaska, I worked for the Forest Service as a biologist for the Forest Service, and just a lot of different things, a lot of different perspectives. And that's a really good question. How did I end up turning? Actually, I was thinking about that. It goes back to my mother, as a lot of us do. Is she was a mystic of sorts, and she always was reading, bizarre stuff, like Edgar Cayce books and Ruth Montgomery and some of the other, and I got interested in some of that stuff, and so it was always in the background going around, and so I just kind of had an interest in that, and then really a transcendental. I was taken with Thoreau, Emerson, the transcendental when I was. Movement when I was younger and would read that stuff. And so anyway, I guess that's kind of how I got into it. And it's like a number of us, only when things really go down the tubes and you kind of crash and I didn't literally crash and burn. I did crash, but didn't burn.
That's good.
That's very good. And is that when things kind of went south, I started finally, in fact, I was a science teacher out in it's a little Eskimo village out in Western Alaska. and the winters are long and hard. And
Yes.
anyway, going through a difficult time, and just feeling called to do something else. And I love teaching. I love dealing with teenagers. I love that, but it just wasn't. After a number of years, it just felt something else calling. And I just remember picking up that on a dark night of this whole type of thing, or morning really, well, the night's going forever. It picked up my old Science of Mind book that my mother gave me back in the late 70s, and started reading it. So, okay, Ernie, we're gonna see if this stuff works, and it did.
No.
It did. Well, I called it a science fair. It was my science fair experiment, and.
Well, it is, they call it religious science. So
exactly.
So what interested you in our teaching? Was it how Ernest Holmes presented spiritual principle? Was it the kind of the scientific method that it goes through for prayer, and also for teaching people how to demonstrate a better life? What was one or two things that really caught your attention?
The big thing was the emphasis on that, on science. In that sense, that was the second word in the, or the science of mind, and that the concept of the science and the logic of it, and then reading, and I did reading in Thomas Ford, and it is that logic, scientific, looking at it, and it not as a you have to believe this or else type of thing, but no, here's the principles. And I well understood the laws of nature, many of the laws of nature, and how they don't care. They don't care what you believe or want. Gravity just is gravity. The gas laws are just the gas laws. So I could appreciate that. And so, and I also realized that coming from science, you realize that science, it moves upward and kind of sticks and leaps and bounds and type of thing. It's that these new possibilities emerge, and they're contested, such as continental drift. Einstein was against continental drift. He was against that, and he actually endorsed the guy that, I forgot his name right now, but endorsed the guy that said it was a bunch of bunk. He later retracted that. He also didn't go with expanding universe. He thought that was a bunch of bunk until Edwin Hubble said, come here, take a look at this. I want to show you some things. And so that science, as we learn more, as we discover more, our ideas and our concepts, our ability to imagine increases. And that's what I perceived. And I'm with my own life. I began to see it, like you say, see it working. Something is working. And I just am, very curious. And that's what really kind of kept driving me forward, is what's going on here? How does this work? Because I just, what's the model here? And eventually, after getting into enough quantum physics and that kind of, I began to understand. And now it's emerging more and more of the model that we're living in basically a soup of consciousness, of a patterning intelligence, as Dr. Jesse Jennings likes to call it. And that, you may not like to think that or believe it, but it's here and it's around you and it's listening, and it's aware, because you are part of that patterning intelligence. Anyway, I can go ahead.
No, you're doing great. Hi there. This is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael, and I am speaking this evening with a practitioner and also scientist, science teacher, David LeMaster, who again is one of the bright lights that I get to be with on Wednesday evenings in a class that we take. It's a continuing education class. It's filled with practitioners and also ministers from around the country, and also from Canada, who meet weekly with Dr. Tom Senar and discuss all of these wonderful things. David, how did you get from when you discovered the science of mind to becoming a practitioner?
I didn't even know what a practitioner was. And so when I retired from teaching up in Alaska and moved down to Idaho, I began looking into the possibility of just taking some classes. I'd only been into a center a couple times in my life. I didn't even know much about it. I just knew I understood the philosophy. I studied the philosophy. I did it all on my own. And when I got down here to Idaho, they have a center up in Boise, but that's, it's like 50 miles away. And so, I visited that a little bit and tried to but I couldn't. It was just like the drive was at night and that type of thing was not going to work. And then I can't remember how I found out about at the time that they were doing some online stuff. But at that time, it wasn't Zoom, and it was a little bit primitive. I don't even think that we had camera going. I don't think so. But anyway, I got into starting to take some classes and really enjoyed that. But at the end of the classes and getting all the classes, I still really didn't grasp how this works. I knew it worked, but how it worked. And so I just had to find out, how does it work? And it wasn't until I got into practitioner training that I after all these years, finally grasped kind of what Ernest was saying and kind of what was going on there with the concept of the consciousness and that mindset, that or holding that frequency of consciousness is what draws to you these events. And anyway, that's kind of how I got into it. And you know how it is, once you get into it, it's hard. It just keep going, as you know.
Well, yeah. And I think what I admire about the online classes and also the practitioner program, and again, you're talking to someone who is very much against it in the past, but what I've seen again in talking to you and other members of and graduates of the online program is just a wonderful consciousness. And we can create community online as evidenced by COVID-19. So you guys were doing it way before. I remember another member of our class, Dr. Christina Tillison. Again, they started online classes back in the 90s where what they did was they text back and forth the lesson. So we've come a long way, baby, as far as with the online classes. And again, it's just a wonderful community that they've built online, and all the ladies, they love David.
What's not the love? I mean,
yeah, that's right. So tell us about some of the things that you are involved with other members of the online program.
Oh, you bet. And I was going to throw it out there too. It's interesting with this online, doing the Zoom and being involved in all this. It's actually after a while you're going, have I actually met this person? I can't decide whether. Some people I've met in person and given a hug to during some retreats and things, and after a while, so I don't know. It's so intimate, this sharing, and you become very close. Right now, I'm teaching with two other members that I've been with a long time online. With Katie Rox Brigatti, I'm teaching doing a book study on the untethered soul, and so we're doing that on Friday evenings, and then I'm also doing with Dana Voigt, another practitioner, my prayer partner, great friend. We're doing a class on Maverick mystics, and looking at mystics such as Neil Donald Walsh and his conversation with God, Abraham, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, and it was an idea I had of pulling in some more contemporary mystics, because some people think mystics were only back in the past during the Old Testament days, and we don't have it's happening all over the place, and we've had some powerful mystics in our own lifetimes are happening right now. And so anyway, I just was inspired to do a class on that, so we're doing that on Monday evenings.
So how if we have a viewer or listener that's wanting to get into the classes, how do they contact you, or how do they get into the class?
Well, yeah, just contact me. It'd be David LeMaster at mac.com would be a good way to get a hold of me. Okay. And then we can go from there. And so, yeah, the book study, jump on in, and and the mystics class as well. And you missed a couple, but Yeah, we'll cut you a deal.
So what is the investment in both?
The book study is it's a kind of a consciousness giving donation to Jesse Jennings Creative Life Center. That's who I'm a practitioner with. And so that's just an offering. But for the Mystics class, the Maverick Mystics, it was a $99 for the 6 weeks. But if you're a student, we're open to scholarship. We're open to whatever. We just want to be able to share this information and really creating spiritual community. And the classes have been very powerful and very uplifting.
And one of the reasons I think for years that I was against online was because that I did not see how we could form spiritual community without being in person. And so, but again, with COVID and the shift that has happened, especially over the past 3 years, again, has pretty much opened me up. Our community here in Akron, we're still meeting online on Sundays. And so, but we have a very, very close community. So I think that the whole idea that we can not only have our local communities, now most of the people in our community are from around the Akron area, northeastern Ohio. But again, that, sometimes we have visitors, even from the New Thought Media Network. That's why we go ahead and we tell you and share with you again to be with us on Sundays here. If you do not have a church home or you want to, again, to experience more of the science of mind and spirit, again, please go to summitcsl.org. Please join us on Sundays. There, all the contact information, how to get into the Zoom room, and also the passwords are there. The password is Summit, by the way, and with a capital S. And again, please join us because, again, and I know David probably has a comment about this, there is so much that you can learn from books. You can study the science of mind. I'll show you my wonderful copy here. You can study this wonderful book and still miss a few wonderful things that, for example, in that book, Holmes does not really go through, or Dr. Ernest Holmes does not really go through how to give a science of mind treatment. So it was only in the classes that I really learned and got feedback on how to do this wonderful form of prayer, that's what I use today. So that's the power of community. And again, the other power of community is that people call me on my stuff. Or they'll say, well, Michael, you seem a little down today. Or they'll say, or give a comment like that. My favorite comment in community is when I say something that is somewhat negative, is they'll come up to me and say, you said this. Do you really want that? So that's the reason for that. I say that no matter where you are at, you have the opportunity, like myself and David have. Again, David is out there again on, living in a wonderful community. Again, that's right on an airstrip. And we would have never met if it wasn't for the online community. So,
and the powerful thing I find, I'm amazed because, like I said, all my training, all my studying have been by myself. And I lived in I'm a biologist, so I was always out in the field I never was within community, a spiritual community. It's always, but now that when I'm I'm a member of the virtual practitioner program out of Centers for Spiritual Living, and we have people coming in from, Switzerland. One of our members now is from one of the practitioners is joined us, is from Switzerland. Another is from, from England. and from in Canada, and it's just from all over. And to tap in, I likened it. I did some gold mining when I was up in gold panning. You know, when you use a pan, it's like you see on TV type of thing. And by the way, it's really cold to do that on your hands. But anyway, panning and panning gold. And when you pan gold, you know, you go through a lot of stuff to get those flakes. Well, that's what I see with these online is you're getting the flakes of these gold, these nuggets of these people, that is, these souls from all over the place. I mean, even Ohio. Who would have thought that there was a gold flake in Ohio? I grew up on the other side of Ohio and Kentucky, so we always make jokes about the Buckeyes.
Well, again, that many people, even in our movement, you know, they think of Ohio as kind of a flyover state, but we are very active. I was talking with our regional support coordinator today, Faith Woods. Hello, Faith. About, again, some activities that we're doing. And again, it just amazes me again that we here in Ohio, that there is wonderful consciousness. You mentioned down in Kentucky, again, you know, about kind of the Southern Baptist kind of mentality down there. But again, science of mind is very much alive and well in the Southern states. And again, that we get, I would say, what, 3 people, David, from North Carolina?
What's that?
In our class, we have 3 people from North Carolina in our class.
North Carolina.
We also have
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all one syllable. Louisville. See, if you're from the South.
Louisville. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, not.
Not
I
Louisville.
can always tell a non-native they say Louisville. No, it's Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah. You have to be a native to understand it. But so, what do you, as far as with the online program, the remote practitioner program, what are some of the activities that you do online?
Well, we do different workshops. We can offer it through that. The World Ministry, there's a World Ministry of Prayer. People from the virtual practitioner program are connected with the World Ministry of Prayer. There's the Ukrainian, and I'm not sure that's ever really connected with the what I call the VPP program, but every day they've been getting together and doing with Katie Rocks has been doing connections, and Shelley has been getting with Ukrainian practitioner students and practitioners in Ukraine. And sometimes they're in the dark, sometimes they're in their bathroom with their children as they're being with air raid sirens going off, yet they're online and able to connect and keep them feeling that they still are connected. It's incredible. And so there's a lot of some different things going on. It keeps kind of changing, but it's very dynamic is what's going on, because it's a new program. This idea of having virtual practitioners, because there's a lot of people that aren't affiliated and aren't around close to centers, and so a different way of thinking. Are you going to? What if there's a budding Ernest Holmes happens to be out in the cow pastures of Idaho or Montana or someplace like that? You're going to leave them because, oh no, you're not by a brick and mortar, so no, you can't play. You might be, you never know.
From my readings of Ernest Holmes, he always meant this to be a worldwide teaching.
Definitely.
So I think that, again, that because of the technology that we have now, again, it just amazes me that when I do prayer here on New Thought Media Network, it amazes me, again, we get people from Europe, get people from the Philippines, from South America. Again, they'll go ahead and they'll write in and they'll say, thank you very much for that prayer. And again, I'm doing it from the secure concrete bunker somewhere in Akron, Ohio.
And they don't let you out of there, do they? I mean, they keep you in the bunker, right?
Yes. And there are security reasons.
They shove the food under the door.
Yes, especially pizza, with National Pizza Day. Yes. We're talking with this evening Science Mind practitioner, David LeMaster, who's a bright light again in our movement, and also that he's extremely active in the remote practitioner program. So David, talk to us about, you and others have been learning online, especially the PRAC program. So tell us how that's been, or how was that for you, doing your practitioner training online?
It was it was difficult in some ways, and because of that distancing and not in physical contact, and yet very quickly you adapt. I mean, at first I remember being somewhat intimidated by camera and being on camera, and then after a while it's very comfortable that you learn to kind of flow with it.
Right.
And the hardest thing is you get that 1,000-yard Zoom stare, after about 3 hours, sitting by a computer, you're just kind of brain dead. So, online classes, that's the most challenging thing. I think is sitting in front. I'm a very active person. I like to be out hiking, doing anything other than staring at a computer. But it's been well worth it. And the people, the individuals I've met, the connections, they're the best friends of my life now. And it's just been, and then now it's fun to go visit and to go and go and visit some of the people. And that's what I kind of plan to do more of, is to connect with them physically. And now I got good friends in Barbados, and a friend in Barbados, and she's a virtual practitioner that's come in, and just a dynamic individual. And anyway, it's just, as a farm kid, as a country kid, and as an outback Alaskan bush rat, to be able to connect with these people from all over, I'm in hog heaven, as we say. This is great.
So we even have a practitioner from Alaska, Tony, who comes on our call weekly. And I think that, again, that there's a lot of wonderful things happening online. Let's get real clear, though. It wasn't always online. David had to attend a yearly retreat. Is that
We
correct?
did. Yeah. And COVID kind of threw a wrench in that when they were doing that. But yes, I was in Encinitas, California. So it's so funny because I was so against it. I was just, you're going to make me have to go buy a plane ticket and go all the way to California and do it was like the most wonderful thing to connect in person like that, and to see everybody, and to give the big group hugs, and the powerful spiritual practice of these individuals, Dr. Christina. And anyway, and I understand now they're going to be meeting at the retreat center in Oregon.
Right.
I think that's what's going to be happening. And they got an airstrip not far away. I just happen to know that.
Why couldn't they let you land at the camp? Is there a...
Oh, they can't stop me. I probably couldn't. They probably wouldn't let me take off, but I could land there. But
Oh, they wouldn't let you take off?
Not after I crashed the airplane in their field.
Oh, no, you're not. Listen, twice is enough, David.
Twice.
Okay.
Third time, you're out of here.
Yeah. But again, so what are you doing now? Are you retired now? Do you have another career that you're working on? Tell us about how things are today. Wow.
Well, I have been going back and forth to Alaska, teaching. There's a amazing group called Excel Alaska that is bringing village. These are kids. These are native kids, mostly Eskimo, Inupiat, Yupik Eskimo, and also Athabascan native, into Anchorage, and get them a driver's license. And I was doing science. Helped me to get their science credits on that. But mainly I was teaching a lot of emergency medicine. I was an EMT instructor, so I did emergency medicine classes. Also, I taught aviation. I helped some of them get their pilot's license, teaching ground school aviation. So I've been doing that. That's kind of on the back burner now. I'm just so interested. I'm a writer, and that's what I feel called to do, writing, and also doing what we're doing here, doing more online presentations type of thing, and just getting the word out and communicating with individuals.
So I'm getting the messages from my producer. Plug the book. So tell everyone about the wonderful book that you have written.
Yeah, he's gonna plug it up here. Stalking the Power of Boredom. Well, I wrote that when I came out of I moved down to Idaho from Alaska, and these are ideas and thoughts that I've been working through a lot of my life, that family all kind of came together. And the aspect of the boredom, what occurred to me was that spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, it does not want to be bored. And as a biologist, I see that all the critters, all the from squirrels to chipmunks, it doesn't matter, nothing. And I'm a bird biologist. Nothing. They don't want to be bored. They're always looking. If you ever go to a zoo and see the boredom, and I just got thinking about that. What is that? And I finally realized that's a quality of the universe, and it's a quality of me, because I hate being bored. And what is that? That is this thing itself wanting more, wanting to expand, wanting to express. And that got me thinking about a concept. It's kind of a blasphemous concept. If maybe this thing itself doesn't know all things, it's in the process of knowing all things.
Wow.
And I call it the God process.
Yes.
I know I'm worried about they're going to burn me at the cross for that, but or at the stake. But anyway, but that it is expanding, and I saw that is the impetus. That's the pressure for all of this. Is it tries to know itself, and the trouble is, as it knows itself here, then that expands and so it just keeps on. And if we look at the universe, that's exactly what the universe is doing. It's expanding at an exponential rate. Into what? We don't know, but it's expanding. And so is Michael. Michael's expanding. He never, he keeps eating that pizza. He's going to be.
That's right. David LeMaster, again, thank you for being such a bright light in our movement. Thank you for, again, all the lives that you have affected. Again, I get to witness that each and every week during our class. And just, again, thank you. Thank you for being in our teaching. Go buy the book, which is available online. David LeMaster, thank you for being with us this evening. And again, many, many blessings. And I'll see you on Wednesday again.
Thank you, Michael. Reverend Michael.
Okay, thank you. All right, time for us to go here. Again, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Please consider, if you have not done in the past, please consider being a supporter financially of our network. Go to ntmedia.org/donate. Again, we have doors come open each and every day. And the only reason that we do not go through the doors is because we do not have the finances yet. So, and I say the word yet because I know that, again, that the idea that we have is a divine idea that deserves to be funded. So ntmedia.org/donate. Again, thank you so very much. Thank you to my executive producer, Diego Reyes. This is Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm wishing you a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.